Okay, so we're reviewing Chapter 11 concepts that are going to be on your test tomorrow. Guys, there's going to be no surprises. What you saw on your review sheet, what you saw on your quiz tomorrow, that's what you're going to see on your test. Now, there's some really important key mistakes that I see that a lot of students made yesterday. And one of those mistakes is you don't know when to make your answer positive, negative, when your answer is just positive or just negative. Would you agree? You're confused about the signs? Okay, so we're going to go over that. You're also confused about your formulas. Which one goes where? What's your formula for area of a triangle, trapezoid? No, I gave you a bank. Some of you even put, like for circumference, like a formula for circumference, C equals, you would put an A equals formula there. Like, what? Guys, it's circumference, C for circumference. So, some of that's easily fixed. Would you agree? It's easily fixed, okay? Between quiz and test, we can figure that out. But you need to ask questions today. Let's go through some of this. The first concept I want to go over is solving equations involving your exponents whenever you have your variable raised to a power. So go ahead and solve these two equations using opposite operations. So on number one, what do I do first? Everybody. You got to divide because multiplication is connected to your variable. You've got to divide both sides by 5. Now you get x squared equals what? 400. Nice even number. What do I do now? Take the square root both sides. X equals what? Positive and negative 20. Why? Because if I plug in a negative 20 up here, let's say 5 times negative 20 squared. Okay, well, if I multiply that, it will still equal 2,000. So that's why my answer is both positive and negative, because if I plug in a positive, it still works out. If I plug in a negative, it still works out. My answer is both. What do I do first on number 2? I'm going to add 6 and then square root it to get positive negative 4. All right, did y'all get those? That's when my answer is positive negative. Now, if I have a radical, my radical, guys, is positive. My answer will be one or the other. I had a lot of people yesterday on the quiz saying positive and negative in their answers, and they only got partial credit. Now, while I'm talking about partial credit, you must redo the entire problem if you get points off that question on your corrections. That's not a bad thing, okay? I give you a quiz grade to do that. So if all you missed is the sign, it's literally as simple as repeating what the question that you did, the work that you showed, and then writing the correct answer. All right? I don't want to have to guess back and forth. Okay, well, they only have part of their answer here, so what did they miss on their quiz? I want to look at a question and see it completely done right. All right? So it cuts down on my grading time, and it's just good practice for you. All right, so make your substitutions here. Guys, you're not struggling with the substitutions. Y'all are doing well. Now, I will tell you this too. I had a major problem with people not showing work on the quiz. I will be taking off points. You will not receive full credit on these questions if you don't show work. So what kind of work am I talking about here? What kind of work am I talking about? What work would you show? Substitutions. Show substitutions in for the variables. That's the work I want to see on your test. Okay? All right, square root of 3 times 6 times 2. This is what I want to see on your test tomorrow. I want to see your substitutions. From this point, yes, you can use your calculator to do the calculation, and you come up with an answer of what? What? 6. So what do I want to see on your test tomorrow? Starts with an S. Substitutions. Okay, number 4. Again, make your substitutions. I want to see that. Then at that point, 5 times 6 is 30, minus 5 is 25. You can do all of this part on your calculator. Square root of 25 is 5. All right, number 5. Negative square root of 4 times 2 plus 41 would be the negative square root of 49, which is negative 7. -7. So your answer, guys, with radical expressions, it's one or the other. It's positive or negative. It's not both. When is it both? When I'm solving what? Equations. Solving equations, like the last slide. All right, now we have these dimensions. What would these be dimensions of? A and B. Sides A. What has sides labeled A and B?
A triangle.
Triangle. A right triangle. Pythagorean theorem. Now, you're not going to see the triangle on your test. Okay, but here's what you have to remember. Sides A and B, they can kind of interchange depending on which way the triangle faces. Side C must be the length that's across from the right angle. And that side length goes on the other side of the equal sign. If you get that in the wrong place, you will get the wrong answer. On any problem that involves a formula, you must write the original formula first, show your substitutions and your work if needed, and then your answer. If all I see is an answer on your test, you will get half credit if you by chance get the answer right. I need to see your work. It's just as important that I can see that you know how to use formulas to get to your answer, not just hit the correct buttons in your calculator. All right, make your substitutions and solve this. Okay, so substitutions. 8 goes in for A, 7 goes in for B. Now at this point, guys, yeah, use your calculators. That's fine, but show me what these add up to. You don't have to do it by hand. Use your calculator. 8 squared plus 7 squared is what? 113. Show it. Show it. Why do I need to show this step? Because what's the next step? What do I do here to solve for C? Square root it. So if I don't show the total, how do I know what I'm even taking the square root of? I have to remember it. You're going to make a mistake. All right, so show your steps, guys. C is approximately 10.6. I'd round. Now, if you went a little farther out, that's fine because I didn't tell you. On your test, I will tell you round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so that's it for Pythagorean theorem. Now, let's solve parallelogram. So, guess what? You need to know the formula for the area of a parallelogram. You got to know it. If you don't have it memorized, that's why conveniently as the first section on your test, I'm going to have basically the same as was on your quiz. More or less a matching section where you have a bank and you're going to plug in the correct formulas. You use those formulas to solve the rest of the test. Does anybody remember what is the formula for area of power? A equals BH. Guys, it doesn't get more simple than that. A equals BH. That's it. All right, now go ahead and solve. So now we plug in 36 for area, 8 for base. I don't know H, so how do I solve for H? Divide both sides by 8. And it's going to be a decimal. That's no big deal. Okay, that's fine. Did you get 4.5? All right.
So you wouldn't use the sign on this one?
No, because anytime it's measurements, it's positive. Okay, so I'm taking measurements here. All my answers are positive. That's a good question. What's that? All right, use your formula. Solve for the area. What is the area of this trapezoid? Okay, so A equals, say it with me, 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height. All right, so 0.5 I like to use for 1/2 times 5 plus 7 times 4. Okay, what's 5 plus 7? 12. So half of 12 times 4 gives me 24. 24 inches squared. Did y'all get 24? Yes. 24? All right, so that would be area of a trapezoid. The last thing I want to review is your circle. All right, finding circumference and area. Now remember, circumference, there is a formula for both radius and diameter. So use the correct one. But for area, which measurement does it call for? For area, A equals pi r squared. The radius, well, does the circle give us the radius measurement? No, but can I find it? Okay, so go ahead and find the circumference and the area of this circle. Okay, so circumference, which formula did you use? Okay, you can use 2 pi r, but what value did you use for r? That is wrong. Because 14 is the diameter. So if you use 2 pi r, that's fine, but you have to use 7. Because 7 is the radius, right? So I just use pi d because they give me diameter. Okay? So 3.14 times d, which is 14. Now, technically, could I have used the fraction 22 over 7? Because my diameter is divisible by 7. So I could have, and it would have been a more even answer. Did anybody do that? The fraction? Good job. What'd you get? You got a nice even number, didn't you? Yeah, 44. Very good. Now, for the area, pi r squared, again, you could have used the fraction, or you could use 3.14, and you should have got 153.86 or 154. All right, guys, and that covers pretty much everything on your test. You know, you'll find the 2 square roots of a number. Guys, two square roots, the positive and negative. Other than that, know your formulas. You should be good to go.